Trump calls for immediate ceasefire in Ukraine after meeting Macron and Zelensky in Paris. U.S. President-elect Donald Trump called for an immediate ceasefire in Ukraine after meeting with French President Emmanuel Macron and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky in Paris on December 8th. The meeting took place during the reopening of Notre Dame Cathedral, after the iconic building was restored following a major fire in 2019. Speaking on his personal page, Mr. Trump said that both Moscow and Kyiv had suffered serious losses in the nearly 3-year war, which he described as a war that should never have happened. He stressed, "There must be an immediate ceasefire and peace talks. Too many lives are being lost needlessly. Too many families are being destroyed. It is time to end this conflict." He also called on Russian President Vladimir Putin to take the necessary steps to end the war. Trump's call came after a 3-way meeting in Paris on December 7th, which Zelensky described as constructive. Speaking to reporters, the Ukrainian president said any peace deal must be fair to the Ukrainian people. He stressed that the goal was to ensure that Moscow would not have the opportunity to repeat its aggressive behavior in the future. Meanwhile, the Kremlin responded cautiously to Trump's comments. Spokesman Dmitry Peskov said Russia was ready to take part in peace talks, but only if the agreements were based on what was achieved in Istanbul in 2022. He stressed that the situation on the battlefield, where Russian forces are making the fastest progress since the early stages of the war, also needed to be viewed realistically. Russian President Vladimir Putin has repeatedly mentioned a preliminary agreement reached between Russian and Ukrainian negotiators in the first weeks of the conflict in Istanbul, Turkey. However, the agreement has never been implemented due to the failure of both sides to reach a final consensus. Putin believes that the document can be used as a basis for future negotiations. The conflict in Ukraine has lasted for nearly 3 years, causing heavy human and economic losses. Both sides are under great pressure from the international community, especially the United States and European countries, to find a peaceful solution. However, deep disagreements over territory, security, and responsibility for the war remain major obstacles to reaching a final agreement. Trump's attendance at the event in Paris and his call for a ceasefire immediately after his meeting with Macron and Zelensky showed his interest in the Ukraine issue even before he officially took office. As the U.S. president-elect, Mr. Trump's views will likely influence Washington's approach to resolving the conflict in the coming period. While it is unclear what practical impact Mr. Trump's call will have, it has attracted considerable international attention and signals the possibility that the U.S. will play a more active role in promoting peace talks in Ukraine.